Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I wanted to make a favorites video. I wanted to over time remember the things that I really like. And so I thought every month, why don't I put out a favorites? And then January was over and I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna do a favorites video. And so I'm sorry because it's like the middle of February and I'm putting out a favorites video, but I wanted to make sure that I did it so that I would remember to then do it again for February and March and so on. So I thought instead of doing things that I love or my favorite products for the month, that I would do a creativity favorites of the month. And that'll include things like music, movies, television shows, books, art, whatever from the month that I really enjoy a lot. So we're here on the orange couch. This is my office. I just thought this is a really good place to talk about things like creativity and media. So let's get started. I made a little list and I'm gonna pop up right here so you can see what they are, and then as much information as I can give you down below, I will do so. So make sure to check the description box below because there'll be links to whatever you want to watch or read, whatever we talk about today. So let's just jump into it. Let's just get started. And we're gonna start, because this is probably one of my favorite things, we're gonna start with movies. I decided to have two categories of movies this time. One that is movies I saw in the theater and one that is movies I watched at home, because I really find that those two things are very different. Usually when we pick movies to go to the theater to watch, they're like a special kind of movie that you really should see in the theater, like your Star Wars or your action movies or the things that just are enhanced a lot on the big screen. And then there are movies that I save to watch at home, whether that's because I'm probably the only one who's going to want to watch them or because I'm fine with watching them on the television home. A movie that I saw in the theater last month that was probably my favorite one we saw was Jumanji. And I went to that thinking, it'll be funny. I like those people that are in it, but you know, whatever. And it was so hilarious. Like, I loved it. It was so funny. I was literally laughing through the entire movie. And I don't use the word literally lightly. Like, literally, we were laughing from the beginning to the end of the movie. It was fantastic. There were so many great people in it, and it just made me happy, and I'm so glad. And it even is one of those movies where I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily need to go to the theater to watch it, but I'm so glad that we did, because there was action. There was a lot of action involved, and it was just really cool to see like the jungle on the big screen in it, and then you're laughing and just enjoying yourself. It was so funny, and everyone in the theater was laughing and enjoying it, and I am so glad I watched it. And if you haven't seen it yet, if it's still in the theaters, go to the theater and watch it. If you can't anymore, then watch it at home. It was the highest grossing film, I think, for like 3 weeks running or something. And that is correct. Like, it should have been. It was so good. So definitely go see Jumanji or rent it at home if you can't go to the theater. And then at home, I would have to say, probably the movie that I was really into and loved the most was Sing, which that movie is not new. It's been around for like over a year now. But I babysit my nephew almost every week, and he was really into that movie, and every single time I would watch it with him, which usually when I watch movies with him, after like the second time I'm like, okay, can we please watch something else? But that movie, like, I'll watch it anytime. I love the music in it. I love the characters. One of my most favorite things about that movie was just the animation in that is amazing. They do these like animated time lapses. Like, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's so awesome. Like, every time, it's my favorite part at the very end. They like rebuild this building and they do it all in a time lapse, but it's animated. It's not really, it's so good, and every time I watch it I'm like, it's my favorite part, it's my favorite part, and so I like stare at the TV and I just watch it because it's so good. So definitely go watch Sing if you haven't seen it, but I mean hopefully you've seen it, but go watch it again and just like enjoy the music because the music is fantastic.
Once there was a way to get back homeward.
And pay attention, there's another part where they do a time lapse. I think it's in the beginning, but at the end of the movie, there's a time lapse and it's so cool and you need to see it. So now I want to talk about my favorite TV show. So I'm also going to really separate between movies and TV because to me they really are very different. Especially nowadays, TV is just a whole different ball game now than it used to be. And there's so many amazing things out there that they're really like rivaling movies in a way. I think there's something to the movie experience, going to the theater, experiencing it in the theater. Like there's nothing that can really compare to that experience. But TV is like, the things they're doing with TV series and the actors that are a part of them and they're really amazing and well done. And it really truly has become an art and I really like it. And so I really do want to focus a little bit on my favorite TV show, probably also because I will have more TV shows that I'm watching than movies that I'm watching. Usually that tends to happen these days, so I'll definitely have shows that are my favorites. And my favorite probably for January was Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I have seen every single episode. I've seen them all when they aired them or like released them on the internet, which originally was on Crackle, I think, but now the entire series is on Netflix. Well, not the entire series. Most of the series is on Netflix, which I love because there's no commercials, which is fantastic. But I love that series. So then in January, I got addicted to it again and I started watching it and just, I've seen all the episodes, some of them more than once, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna go back and watch them all again. And I didn't quite get through all of them since when I started, but I was definitely a little bit addicted to that. So if you have not seen Comedians in Cars, you need to go watch it. Turn on your Netflix and watch it. It is fantastic. Honestly, I feel like it's for everybody. I really do feel like anyone can get something out of it. So it stars Jerry Seinfeld. The title of the show is the exact premise of the show. It's fantastic. They talk about why humor is important in our society, which is a huge thing, and I think a lot of people don't talk about it very much, and they really do because they're comedians and they think it's very important and they want people to understand why it's important. And so I love watching it. My favorite episode is not on Netflix because it's Louis C.K. That's my favorite episode, and I don't think Netflix is airing anything by Louis C.K. right now, which is understandable. If you don't know why, check the internet. But that is my favorite episode. Since you can't watch the Louis C.K. one unless you can find it online, which I still would recommend, watch the Jimmy Fallon ones because those are my favorite, like my second favorite. But I definitely recommend that you watch it. But just go watch all of them because they're wonderful. And the next thing I'll talk about is the web. So I guess when I'm gonna have a section about the internet, I guess. So something amazing that I find on the internet. Right now it's pretty obvious and basic. And my favorite thing on the internet right now is YouTube, and it has been for a very long time. But I wanted to set it as my January favorites because this is the first one that I'm doing, and I think it's probably the biggest one out of all of them that I am truly obsessed with. Like my roommates, my friends, everyone can tell you right now that I'm fully obsessed with YouTube. I love it so much.
I love you!
And I'm not ashamed to say that I am, because I think that YouTube is an amazing platform right now. It's really great. I think it has some issues, some monetization issues for those who are actually monetized and other things. Nothing is perfect, and I don't think YouTube is either.
Why can't they just be better? Why do they have to make me do this?
But I think the people on YouTube and the communities that are created on YouTube are pretty amazing. And I just love the opportunity to share creativity, and it's so cool to see so many different people share their creativity. Like people who share things and they don't realize they're being creative, but they are. And people who are very aware of creativity and so they feel that they need to share it. And I'm so happy for both of those people, those types of people. YouTube is awesome. It's amazing. And I think that it's going to be the thing that it already is the thing that's kind of changing our society, but people don't really understand that that's what's happening. And sooner or later, we're going to start figuring out that that's what is actually starting to mold and shape some of our society. And that can be very good, and it can also be very bad. There's ways in which it's been terrible. There's ways in which it's just been meh. And then there's ways in which it's been really awesome, and I'm excited for it. So I think that we can look at YouTube as like a place that we need to be weary of, but I also think it is such a wonderful platform, and there's so many wonderful things that can come out of it education wise, learning, you know, like learning how to do things DIY, those kinds of things that I think our society lost for a long time, and we're starting to get back. We're learning how to do things ourselves, get our hands dirty. People who are shaping like their own communities. I will suggest that there's a gentleman named Dave Erasmus. He's really awesome. He started a project called the Corcovado Project, and I will just suggest that you go visit his website because he can explain it a lot better than I can. But right now he is working on finding ways for us to communicate as a community better. So wherever we are, we can create a community within that, and how to communicate together on culture and lifestyle and all of those things, and how to communicate with each other, how to learn from each other, how to sit and listen to someone tell us about who they are, and then vice versa, tell people about who and share who we are, and truly form communities and love on our communities, and lift up our communities, encourage each other, and help each other with businesses and families and all those things. And I really feel like I'm excited for what he's doing. I think when I started watching him, I didn't really understand what he was doing, and now I'm really starting to get the feel of like why he's doing what he's doing. And so things like that can exist on YouTube, and that's really cool. And so I think that that is where YouTube is already shaping us as a society, but we don't really realize that it is. And not just us, not just Americans, which maybe a lot of you out there might think that's what I'm saying. No, like all of us, like, because it's a platform that is international. It's everywhere. And so it's shaping a lot of things that are happening all over the world, which is really cool. So right now I'm super obsessed with it, and so I wanted to put it in as my January favorites for the internet, for the web, because it's really awesome. So next up, I would like to feature a little bit of music. I think because my music that I listen to is so usually very different from pretty much everyone else I know. And I know that a lot of people think that, well, like, the music I listen to is like very different and I'm so unique. That's not what I mean.
I only listen to obscure music. I mean, I don't even listen to music anymore, just high-pitched sounds.
Like, music I actually listen to on a day-to-day basis is so different than what most people listen to. And that is because I lead worship for my church. So I listen to worship music. Just if I'm listening to music, it's usually that. Of course, it's not all I ever listen to. I have a lot of music and a lot of variety of music, and one of the things, like, I really want to get back into listening to like true oldies music, like 50s doo-wop and all that stuff. So I do like other music. I really like, I've gotten into country a little bit, depending on who it is that's singing it. I used to love like hardcore music, punk rock music when I was a lot younger. So I do like a lot of different music and music styles, but right now I've been really into just worship music and the different kinds of worship music that there is. And so that's something that it's going to probably be fairly regular when it comes to me talking about music, because that's what I listen to a lot and I love it. So I would say for January, I don't have a specific artist that I can think of that I listen to. I think in the future I will try to find like a very specific artist, like this person I really love and I got into them. But I will say that in January I created a playlist a while back on Spotify of hymn covers, and I've been really into that playlist because I love the idea of taking something that everyone is so familiar with and loves and making it modern. But not in a way that's annoyingly modern, but like how can we do it where it's really interesting and really good and people can still sing along to it, but they can still enjoy something that they remember and every generation can kind of connect with it, and I really love the idea of that. So I've been really into it. I'll try to link below the actual link to the playlist so that if you want to follow it, you can follow it because it's one of my favorite playlists. I think that is everything. Those are all my January favorites. They're all the things I'm loving right now. I hope that you enjoy this conversation that we're having. I hope that you enjoy hearing about my favorite things. I'm sure that you had some favorite movies, TV shows, songs, artists. I know that you've had your favorites. Make sure to share them with me below. Leave a comment telling me what yours are, telling me what you think of mine. Are mine ridiculous? Do you love them too? Let me know. And I'm gonna come back again at the end of February and let you know what my favorite things in February were too. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to hit the like button below if you really liked all of my favorites, or if you like this video. Make sure to subscribe so that you can get more great content. I do a weekly video. I do a weekly vlog every week, and then sometimes I do little videos here and there, and now for sure I'm gonna try and do favorites video every month. So make sure to come back so you can see my February favorites. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you very soon. Bye everybody!